Hybrid pianos are becoming a very popular thing these days, and basically what a hybrid piano is a digital piano where the action is made to replicate the feel of a real piano as closely as possible. And there's, I think, three at least well-known ones out in the market. You have the Yamaha Avant Grands, I've played those. You have the Kawai Novus, I've played that. And you also have the Casio Celviano. And I haven't played one of those until today. So I am here with the Casio Celviano, I think it's called the 300, and that's the one I have here. It has this really interesting, like, satiny kind of finish. Looks like there's a music desk. How does this work? Yeah, not a music desk, a fall board that just kind of comes down. That's a very interesting design. But I'm here with the 300, and I figured I'd do a video on it. Many people have been wanting me to review one of these, and I have one here. So I figured I would do a review on it. You can see here that it says here, developed in collaboration with C. Bechstein. So basically what happened here is C. Bechstein came to Casio, or vice versa, I'm not really sure how it works. But basically, I think that they modeled a C. Bechstein concert grand or a C. Bechstein piano for at least some of the sound samples on here. And that is part of what is giving you the sound. There are, I think, 9 sounds in here. You have Berlin Grand, Berlin Grand Mellow, and Berlin Grand Bright. Then you also have Hamburg Grand, which I guess is supposed to sound like a Hamburg Steinway. You have mellow and bright variants of that, and then you also have Vienna Grand, which I guess is supposed to be a Bosendorfer. So you have a mellow and a bright version of that as well. And I think those are all the sounds you have on here. It's a piano exclusive sound. I could be wrong on that, but I'm not seeing any other sounds. Oh no, we do have sounds. We do have other sounds. We got bass, organ. Okay, I'm wrong about that. We do have other sounds as well. So we do have lots of things, but the 3 main ones that they want you to see are the Berlin, the Hamburg, and the Vienna Grand. So we do have other sounds in here. We do have electric piano and organ and stuff. Maybe I'll try those out too and see what those sounds like. But for now, let's go back to Berlin Grand and see how that sounds. Now, the action of this piano is a little bit interesting. As I said, it's trying to feel as close to that of a real piano as possible. So if I grab an action demo here real quick, you can see that some elements of this are actually very much like a piano, mostly the key here. This is, I'm told, a key that's basically just like the ones used in a real C. Bechstein piano. It's a full-length wooden key with actual bushings and all that, and it actually is a real piano key. But the mechanism up here is, as you can see, vastly different from that of a piano. It's much simpler. You have this large wooden block that I guess, not wooden, it's a large plastic block that I guess is just kind of like a fulcrum and a little lever that helps to transfer the energy from the end of the key up to the hammer, and the hammer here is mostly decorational. The hammer is providing some weight and some feel of a real piano because it can, bounce around a little bit at the end, and when you push the key down, it can sort of feel like a piano, but the actual sensor is not at the hammer tip. The actual sensor is there, as you can see. There's a little rubber nub there. The action's upside down, so it's not working right, but the nub there is actually the sensor that when you push the key down, that senses how hard you push it down and all that, and will apply dynamics to your expression. So that is the action of the Casio Celviano, and it's kind of interesting that this is their take on what can make a action feel like a real grand piano. Now, before I get to playing it, one other thing I wanted to mention, I usually don't mention pricing in my videos, but one thing I did want to mention is that the Casio Celviano is vastly cheaper than the other hybrid pianos out there. The Yamaha Avant Grands, I think the highest one is around 10K. The Novus is also around 10K, and this is like less than half of the price. So that's one thing I wanted to mention, that this is actually a very affordable, hybrid piano. So if you want a keyboard, but you want one that has a very accurate piano action feel, this is a pretty good option, especially if you don't want to spend piano prices for a keyboard. I'm going to put this back where it was, and now let's test out the sound of the Casio C. Bechstein Celviano Grand. I'm going to start off with the Berlin Grand, just the default one. I believe that's the one it boots up on. And let's hear how my test piece sounds on the Casio Celviano. Let's try out another piece that's going to be more in the mid-range here of the piano. Let's try a Bach hymn. And let's play one more Bach hymn just to test out the feel and the sound of this piano. So that is the sound of the Casio Celviano hybrid piano. Now again, there are variations here of the instruments. There's the Berlin Grand, which I just played on. There's the Berlin Grand Mellow, which is a more mellow version. And then you also have the Bright, which is a little bit brighter. Default Berlin has a bit more oomph to it, if you will. The Mellow is more mellow, and then the Bright, a little bit thinner and a little bit more punchy. You also have the Hamburg Grand, which has a much different sound. The default on that is very mellow to begin with. You have the mellow version of that. Wow, it's like a piano with like cotton candy hammers. And then you also have a bright version of that, which is the exact polar opposite. Then you have the Vienna Grand, which is also very mellow. I like that one. You have mellow for that. Wow, and then you have bright. Now the action of this instrument actually does feel pretty dang good. I do enjoy it. It feels very good. As far as, there's the volume. There's the volumes over here. I'm gonna just turn it down and mash in the keys for a bit and just kind of give you guys the idea. Now, of course, the replicating really anything acoustic, replicating anything really mechanical is difficult to do, but I think this does come pretty close. I'm pretty happy with the action here on this instrument. It's a surprisingly simple mechanism. I'm actually kind of surprised at how simple it is, but it actually does feel pretty good, and I do like the feel. It's responsive, it's light, it does have enough substantialness so that it feels real, but it's actually pretty good. I do like the feel of the action on the piano. Now the sound of it does, of course, lack a little bit compared to a real piano, especially that of a concert grand, but you do have to realize that this is a keyboard, and again, it is also less than half of the price of the competing hybrid instruments, so which do have a bit of a more piano-like sound, but this is much more compact than most of those, and also, again, a whole lot cheaper. So that is something to keep in mind. I'm very curious what the other instrument sounds on here. You have Electric Piano 1. Whoa, that's different. FM Electric Piano, no idea what that means. Like a Yamaha DX kind of sound. I'm not going to go through all of them. We do have a harpsichord, which is kind of fun. Vibraphone. Oh, that's really good. That's a really good sound. That's a really good vibraphone sound. You could pipe organ and strings and jazz organ, all kinds of other things, but the main focus of this instrument, again, is the piano. You have 3 buttons here that allow you to quickly get to the piano. But that is a quick little demonstration of the Casio Celviano. I see the logo over here now, GP300. That is the model of this instrument, and you also have a USB port over there, which is kind of nice. You can connect it directly to the computer and just record directly into that, which is a nice feature as well. This is where the volume knob is, and that is what it looks like. So this is a review of the GP300 from Casio. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. One thing that honestly kind of weirds me out here is the finish here of the instrument. I guess it's plastic, but it has a wood grain kind of texture, but it's unlike any I've really ever seen. It's really, the little grain lines are really deep and has a really strange texture, and part of me is kind of weirded out by it, but part of me also just really likes touching it. It has a really nice tactile feel. So I like that as well. It's kind of different, but also kind of neat. Another thing I find interesting is that the Casio logo is here rather than on the fall board, which is another thing that's kind of strange. Pretty much every piano, even hybrid ones, like the Yamaha ones and the Kawai ones, will have a logo here on the fall board like a real piano, but Casio put it here. I think it would have been kind of cool if they had like the Casio name on top and then C. Bechstein down below with like a little line in between them or something. That would have been kind of cool there, but maybe they couldn't put it on this material or something. I don't know. But that's been a review of the Casio Celviano GP300. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I've had a lot of people ask me, review this, review this, review this. But it's been hard to find one, but now I have found one, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you're interested in where I found it, I'll put the store's information in the description down below. And if you want, you can go check out my channel. I've got lots of cool videos of pianos, keyboards, organs, and all kinds of cool things in between. Like this, it's kind of in between. It's a keyboard, but it's meant to feel as close to a piano as possible. So that's what this is. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and give the video a like. Think about subscribing, and if you do subscribe, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. One thing I really appreciate about this instrument is the size of the music desk. Now, I would prefer that it went all the way out to the end of the instrument, but just the fact that it's as big as it is really fantastic. There's no music books around here that I could grab and show you guys the scale of, but it's actually pretty good. I'm figuring you could probably fit 4 pieces of sheet music up here, maybe 5, loose pieces of music, which is really great. A lot of keyboards have like a little tiny music stand that barely holds 3. But this one probably could fit at least 5. I wish I had like some little piece of paper around to test it out and see how many I can fit on there. But that's a really nice feature, and I'm really glad that they put a larger music desk on here. There's probably no piano companies watching this or instrument companies, but if you are watching, please make bigger music desks. I really, really love big music desks. So if you have a bunch of loose pieces of paper, you can line them all up. But on most instruments, you can't do that. But this one here, you can at least probably fit 4, maybe 5 if you're lucky. And there's also the lid here in the back would also probably help hold a piece of sheet music that was mostly off of the desk. So that's a nice feature. I really like that about this instrument.